Today is actually our fourth session of Breakthrough. And just to give you a little bit of background, Breakthrough is something that we created after almost over a year of having check-in meetings every morning. In Ideascape, we were getting a little bit stale. So we said, why don't every Friday we invite a guest speaker and listen to them so we will all get inspired? So Rodney is guest number 4. And guess what? Sempurna Hari Merdeka, I just realized the first speaker was a Malay. The second speaker was a Chinese. The third speaker was an Indian. And the fourth one today is from East Malaysia. How wonderful is that, right? So I think this is meant to be. It's not, there's no coincidence in this. And we are so blessed to have Rodney here with us today. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rodney. Welcome, Rodney.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you. We are so honored to have you. And I can see, oh my God, we have 29 listeners listening to us today. And I think this is record breaking. You superstar lah, bro. Okay. So some of you are Rodney's friends or fans. Okay, so I'm gonna have to start RFC, Rodney Fan Club, soon. For those of you, especially in Ideascape, you are familiar with Rodney because he's our client as well. But let me just do a quick introduction to those of you who are not so familiar with Rodney, and thank you again for dialing in, for checking in this morning. Rodney Wong is the Chief Executive Officer and a board member of Munchy's, Malaysia's #1 biscuit brand. Under his leadership, which covers regional and international responsibilities, he has notably steered the company to record business results since 2014 by building and strengthening the profit fundamentals across all businesses. Now, since assuming the position, I think in July 2014, right? Yeah, Rodney?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Excuse me. He has spearheaded the direction and he guided the strategies for sustainable business growth whilst being responsible for overall management and group operations. Now, that's a huge task. The company has seen significant achievements in recent years, including business success, building successful business brands of Munchy's brands. You know this now, Munchy's Crackers, Lexus, Music, Oat Crunch, Choco, and my favorite, which is going to be my breakfast this morning, Oat Crunch. Also, the formation of a joint venture company with a leading Europe manufacturer, which result in the successful launch of the 7-day croissant by Munchy's into the Malaysian market. Now, you know what? Through all his initiatives and his vision, Munchy's has received multitude accolades, including World Branding Awards. Now, 7, last I counted 7. You got anything you keep under your bed or not? 2019, 2020, he was, I think, Brand of the Year, Biscuits. 2019, also they got the Asian Export Award. They got Putra Brands Awards for 2015, 2017, 2018, 2019. Hello, bro. Go easy, okay? Reader's Digest Trusted Brand, the biscuits, cookies category, they got gold for 2014, 2020, 2017. Brand Laureate World Halal Best Brands Awards in 2018. The Brand Laureate Award Best Choice Brand in Consumer Biscuits 2016. Super Brand Status 2015. Now, are you guys amazed already? Rodney, he was, we were together in Unilever, but I think we only met through emails and, big town hall. Never really had a working relationship with him until I joined this stage recently. But he was also the GM in Petronas Lubricant Malaysia. He was regional sales manager in Coca-Cola Refreshments Malaysia, apart from general sales manager in Unilever, where we were colleagues before. Impressive. impressive. I have to catch my breath reading all this about you, boss.
Wow, that's a bit too much, man.
Ayo, you are amazing lah. Yeah, so we're here to listen to your story. We're here to learn from you, to sedot, all your ilmu, all your philosophies, or what you think leadership is all about. How did you get to make it to this level? So, Rodney, in your own definition, what is a leader? What are the criteria that makes a person become a leader?
Well, first, I think that is really a mouthful introduction, and thank you so much for sharing that. Well, it's humbling to listen to you. I think that's a great question, right? For me, when you look at leadership, are you still there, Rom?
Yeah. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, it's a great question. If you look at leadership, the formal part of it is, what does a leader do? They set direction, guide the company towards achieving the business goal, right? But for me, I really believe in the different role that each of us play. I always say that being more senior doesn't make you a better or even more clever, right? A few years ago, I was sitting at the other side of the table, and it doesn't change anything. So for me, in organization, everyone has a different role to play. How I look at it is like a jigsaw puzzle. When you put all the pieces together, then you have a beautiful picture. So each of us, if we play our role well, whether you're a merchandiser or whether you are a senior manager or whether you are a marketing manager, each of us have to play our role well. Though I'm a CEO, my focus is general management. It doesn't mean that I'm better at merchandising than my merchandiser. The merchandiser, they are the best in doing what they do. So if they do their merchandising well and the ops people do their operation well, the logistic people do their logistic well, then you form a beautiful picture. That means the whole company then can be coordinated into and aligned into achieving the goal. Now, the other thing that I look at, I think as leader, it's important to be authentic, be who you are. Try not to act like somebody else. Like, for example, people who knows me, I love wearing jeans and I don't tuck in my shirt. I really had a hard time when I was in Petronas because, Petronas is like proper, right? People have to dress properly, tuck in their shirt, wear long sleeve, especially if you're senior. But when I was there, we started a casual Friday, and I said, look, from Monday to Thursday, yes, we have an image to protect, and this is the Petronas company. So we dress proper, but on Friday, we wear jeans, we wear t-shirts, we do whatever that we think is comfortable. So I believe comfort is really important, and being who you are, how you dress, that demonstrate what kind of person you are.
Yep.
Now, the other thing about leadership that I always think about is, I think leaders have to genuinely care for your people. Because if you care for them, what do? They reciprocate. Now, for me, a simple measure is, and I always tell my colleague this, I said, when I'm not around, I hope that the result is better. I don't believe in, how do I say this, in compelling people to work. I think the important thing is we all share the same business objective, and we all should try to do that. So for me, if I'm not around, if I'm traveling, if the result is better, then I know I've done that part of building a good company. So in terms of my definition of leadership is, I look at myself as more of a custodian. I don't own this company. right? So how do I leave the company in a better shape after my term? Because we all have to remember, unless you are a business owner, otherwise your role in the company is temporary at best. Yeah. So one of the stories that really stuck with me is the story of the teacup. Whether the story of the teacup, whether you have a porcelain teacup or whether you have a paper teacup. And this is a very interesting story. A very senior guy, I can't remember the exact story, I'll try to tell it. A very senior guy, actually, after he retired, he was asked to make a keynote address. So he took his coach flight, checked into a lower than 4-star hotel, and took a cab and reached the convention center, have to go in, sign his name, walk in, and then when he asked for coffee, he was pointed to the coffee machine, and then he get a paper cup and he drink it. And when he was drinking that cup, he was reflecting back when he was with the government at the senior level. And when he was a senior level, he also came to the same hotel to give a speech. But the treatment was different. He was in business class. He was checked into a 5-star hotel. There was a limousine that really brought him over. And when he was there, he was ushered in. There's no sign in, he don't have to register. And when before his speech, people brought him a porcelain teacup. And the reflection is, hey, that porcelain teacup is not mine. It is temporary. So that's how I look at my role in in leadership. So for me, it's not so much about trying to be, the boss man, but it's more about building good relationship. I think if we build good relationship, it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter who you are. You will just only have good relationship with the people that you have worked with.
That's interesting. Thank you so much. Good relationship. What I'm picking out from what you mentioned is you employ a team leader approach. You talk about being authentic. You talk about leading from the heart, and you talk about compelling people to work. Now, that is very, very interesting. I'm going to get deeper into that. Compelling people to work. How do you do that? Because you mentioned, okay, you said I want people to do better when you're not around. And to a certain extent, we know people, they need to be motivated. And this is, again, that's why there are so many training agencies, there's so many companies helping to do team building, motivation, because the employees, your people needs to get going, needs to be motivated to deliver. So how do you do that? Get people to be compelled to deliver, to do their work when you're not around?
No, I actually said I do not like to compel people to work. I do not like to force people to work. I think it's about having a shared vision. It's about having a shared mission. And most importantly, it's about winning the heart, right? Well, you can force people to work. Every day you stand behind their back, you look over their shoulder and micromanage them, making sure that they do every single thing that you want them to do. But how many of these people can you oversee, right? In Munchy, we have 1,200 people. There's no way I can stand and look at everybody's back and making sure that they do the work. So how do you then motivate them? So for me, it's all about winning the heart. I think the fundamental philosophy that I have is, if you, for example, Rob, if I treat you well, how will you treat me? Right?
You will probably want to do better.
Yeah, or Sam, right? So if you start treating your employee well, and then you give them a clear direction, they will treat you back as good or if not better. Then how do they reciprocate? So they reciprocate by working hard, reciprocate by not failing the leadership. And that's what I meant by not compelling people to work, not forcing them, but more about winning their heart. Yeah. And if you recognize their effort, and I think recognition is extremely important. In our culture, we don't accept recognition that well. Example, I was asking a friend, I said, hey, you got a very nice t-shirt. Where do you get it? Oh, you need it's a cheap t-shirt, I bought it in, somewhere. So we don't take compliments, we don't take recognition that well.
Yeah.
But then we all like to be recognized. We all like to be complimented. Even me as a CEO, if somebody, we do a lot of town hall, right? Especially during the pandemic. And after the town hall, I do get sometimes text messages, email messages. And I remember the first time I got this message when we had the MCO 1.0, we did the town hall, and one of the lady in the factory, in all honesty, I can't remember her name, but she took the effort to write me a short message. She said, thank you so much for taking care of us. Thank you so much for protecting us. It made my day, right?
Yeah.
Because we also, well, I can tell you, senior people a lot of time feel that, or will say that, hey, I don't need somebody supervising me. I don't need to be motivated. I'm self-motivated. But the fact is, we all like recognition. And if we are able to recognize people, I'm sure they will be able to deliver more results for us. Yeah. And if you treat them well, they treat you better by giving you better results. So I think it's an excellent formula, which I've learned when I was very young.
Yes. And okay, so now here's a quick question. When you get into position, right, what do you do in your first 100 days in Munchies or in any organization? Do you have a specific list that you say, okay, now I'm going into this position, I'm going to be the CEO, I'm going to be the general manager now. 100 days, we all talk about the 100 days. Do you have your own list of your first 100 days?
Wow, this is such a brilliant question, Rom. My daughter just joined a new company, started yesterday. And she was like saying to us during dinner, she said, look, I just want to do more, but everybody is busy, and I'm still trying to pick up the new role. So I'm not able to get all the meeting going on, not able to talk to people, not able to start planning my strategies and all these things. Then I told her, I said, look, girl, stop. I think the most important thing for you is first try to understand the company, their culture, their way of working, the processes before you even jump in, right? So for me, I spent typically I will spend the first month going through what my predecessor have done, trying to understand the context, traveling around the country, visiting the markets, observing people. So I think for me, first month, I really don't do a lot of work. For me, it's just observation. Secondly, I try to understand what is the underlying challenges. Now, for example, in Petronas, it took me about 2 months to realize the challenge. Yeah, but Petronas lubricant is a very successful business, right? So when I was looking at it, and through the clutter of presentation by different functions, talking to distributor, talking to business partner, then I realized that the biggest pain point is the route to market design. So what we have at that time was 220 distributors across just Peninsular Malaysia. Let's not even talk about East Malaysia. And everybody is competing with each other. Now, at that time, the number one lubricant brand is Shell. So we are the green brand, and the green brand should be fighting with the yellow brand. We always say that. but instead we are fighting among ourselves. So what we did, we took a very bold decision. I redesigned the route to market from 220 distributor. We created, I think, 18 or 16, I can't remember, that was years ago, 18 or 16 master distributor. And we give them a fixed territory. We set it up with SFA, we set up the organization, and we set up the KPIs. And the business in 6 months grew 42%. Yeah. So I think if you understand what is that one or two things that makes a difference, yeah, and then you become very single-minded in trying to fix those things, it will go a long way. So going back to Munchy's, and this is a really interesting story. When I joined Munchy, I was told, so I went to HR, right? The HR director then, and I was told, I asked her, what's the problem? I was told that there was no leadership, no direction. So in my first month of observation going around, I realized that, and I was reading my predecessors' previous strategies, the work that has been done. I said there's absolutely clarity in the direction, correct strategies. And then I look at the leadership. At that time, we have, if I'm not mistaken, 11 general manager, functional general manager. And all of these people are from multinational. They are really experienced. Their leadership, their direction. So what is the challenge? But as I was spending time about probably into the second month, I realized that the two fundamental challenges, one is the lack of trust. Yeah, and the other one is people are just not communicating. One function is doing something that affect the other functions, and they, because of no communication, that further erode trust. So I started something simple to build trust. I started what we call the leadership weekly 1 p.m. 1 hour meeting. We call it the LT leaders, the LT meeting at 2 p.m. Monday every day, every week. Yeah, for 2 years. We do not have an agenda. The first meeting I remember, so the GM was asking me, he said, "Oh, what's the agenda?" I said, "There's no agenda. There's a whiteboard, there's a marker." So I asked finance, "Do you have anything to share?" If you have, I write down item number 1. Marketing, ops, so on and so forth. So we start to write down everything, and then I get them to share. And also marketing will say something like, "Hey, I'm running a campaign, and I need this kind of stock, so on and so forth." Ops probably will say that, "Hey, I got some challenges in production, and this is going to impact you guys." So we started doing that. And at the end of the meeting, one of the GM said, "So who's going to write the minutes?" I said, "Look, guys, you are all senior leaders. Yeah, you are responsible people. I don't believe in writing minutes. I think we have discussed this, and some of us have to take some of these, have some take out so that we can, move this forward. Let's just go and do it." And the next week we came back again, the same thing. We did that for 2 years. Why do we do that? 2 years. Yeah, every Monday, 2 p.m., 1 hour, mandatory. Everybody have to come. And if you can't make it, I am the only person that can, that allow you not to come. So, but the point here is, it started to build trust among all the functions, and it at the same time communicate what's happening across the business, and that itself built a great teamwork. I remember. Of course, there are a lot more things that we did, right? Just give you an example. So the other thing that we did was we started to share company result in the monthly town hall, and that is also very interesting. Yeah, when I first wanted to do that, one of my GM said, "Hey, no, how can you share company profit? How can you share sales to everybody?" But I said, "Look, But I said, look, if you don't share, how will your employees know where you are?
Yeah.
You know, we come from multinational, it's very natural, right?
Yeah.
But if you work in the local business, sometimes they can be quite confidential in the information like this. So
what's the reason for not sharing?
It's confidentiality. They feel that they should not share this. They are worried that it will get out of the company and your competitor will know about it. And sometimes company just don't like to share.
This is what you mean by no trust. Like you don't even trust your people to keep the information, the data.
Yeah. I'll tell you this story. So what happened was, I said the town hall is on a Monday. And that Friday, I said, I need the company result, you know, the profits, the margins, everything, because I want to share it on Monday. And then CFO said, no, you can't do that. I said, why not? You know, if once you share, everybody will know about it. You know, they may go and spread, your competitor knew about it. Then I said, look, do you want to call the chairman now or do I call the chairman?
Wow.
You know? No, I think that's very important because I'm the CEO, you report to me and you're telling me that I can't have access to the information, right? But the story was, he finally agreed and then he gave me the things and we start sharing. And after that, we developed the company fire plans. And again, the same story happened. I wanted to give a copy of the fire plan to every employee. And again, some of the GM came to me and said, how can you give it out? What if the competitor gets it? I asked them back, I said, what if the competitor gets it? I really don't care. I can tell you, your competitor are not going to change the whole company strategy just because you know something about your other, you know, what your other competitor does, right? Every company have their own cost structure. Every company have their own strategy and every company have their own know-how. So, but the important point here is once we started sharing this monthly result, company strategies, and I like to walk around in our office, and we have employees, managers, executives coming to me and said, "Thank you so much for sharing this with us. We now know where we are, and of course we'll try our best to do better." And some said that well, we give us a lot of clarity where the direction of the company. And that again give them the direction so that they can be aligned to the company strategy. Because the company strategy is not only about one person doing it or about the leadership team doing it. It has to be aligned across all the businesses. So it's like how do you say it? It's like a pyramid kind of thing. If everything goes into that direction, then you will be able to achieve the result. So it helped us a lot. I started to build trust. It started to build communication, and things started to gel. And that's where you start to see the result coming. I hope that answer a long answer to your short question.
A lot. And I can see that the chat box has been very busy. People are talking about what you're saying, and we're taking so much out. Now, there are a lot of leaders out there. There's a lot of smart leaders. Would you say, what is your style? What's your leadership principle? Do you have anyone that you look up to and follow their style? You know, anyone? I mean, would you say that you're leading from your brain or from your heart? Because there are leaders who does that, right? So what's your style?
Well, this is a really interesting conversation or question, and I actually have this conversation with the founder of Munchy's when I joined the company. So he was asking me, say, how do you know this thing? You know, because he started from a school of hard knocks, brilliant guy. Started the company, built it to, you know, the level when I joined. It's really a successful company. So I told him, I said, I'm not born this way, right? The reason I know the things that I know is because people invested in me. Yeah, companies invested in me. Leaders taught me, guide me. And that's how I pick out learning. Is there one or two leaders that I emulate. I think the answer is more of many leaders. Some former leaders, some are friends, some are people that I look up to. So I try to emulate. I try to be the leader that I want to have, rather than the leader I don't want to have. However, going back to leadership principle, I have a couple of principles that I look at. One is what I call consistency between words and action. Yeah, walk the talk. Don't, as a leader, is very important. Don't say things that you are not going to do, because you are the leader, right? You're the CEO. I remember when I was a young manager, one of my chairmen at that time called me up and said that, Rod, why don't you change your distributor now? And that is a very, very significant comment coming from your biggest boss, you know. So I got, of course, disturbed by that comment. And you don't know, when it comes to your chairman, do I now go and terminate my distributor? And my distributor have been doing such a good job for the business, right? So I make it. I make that time I was based in East Malaysia, so I make an appointment. I came to KL, go back to the head office, and sit down with my chairman. I said, "Look, is this for real? If it is, because you're chairman, I will have to make plan, you know, to start the wheel rolling, start the termination process." Then he said, "No, I'm just putting idea in your head." So as a leader, you have to realize that what you say matters. And for example, like in Munchy, we have 1,200 people. I just can't go around saying things that I don't mean, or saying things that I'm not going to do. So in my 7 years, or in any company that I work with, I'm very careful with what I say. And when I say those things, I will 100% back it up with my action. And if you are able to build that culture or that principle in the business, imagine if everybody does what they say they are going to do, then you will have half the battle done, right? The other principle, the other go-to principle for me is to do the right thing. You can't write a book of policies on what is the right thing to do. Yeah. But I mean, if you are able to build that principle within your company, I think very simple is what is the right thing, right? If you take something that is not yours, that is the wrong thing. Everybody knows that. So when we were starting, and I learned this from Coca-Cola, it's not, I didn't come out with this from my own. It was one of my ex-boss in Coca-Cola, who I have a lot of respect for. So he always told us that do the right thing. When you come to a crossroad, which path do you take? And for me, I always touch my heart, and I say that, look, what would I do in this kind of situation? Because if I don't have a manual, if I don't have a playbook on this, then I will follow my heart.
I'm going to cut you there, and I'm going to ask, because this is super, super interesting. Now, being on top, the leader, it's very, very lonely. Like you say, you cannot just shoot your mouth out. Sometimes you have a lot of things going on in your head, but you got to calm yourself down. You got to think about it before you say something, right? Because you said it, people will listen to you. Now, how do you make decision? How do you know you're going to be making a right decision or wrong decision? What is the criteria? What's your rule of thumb? What's the question you ask yourself to be able to make the right decision?
Well, like I say, if you have a clear playbook, then that is easy to make a decision. Then you look at your decision making trees, you look at all your options, your alternative, and then you come to what you feel is the best decision. For me, I have a bias towards the benefit of doubt. Yeah. When I make decisions, I always give the benefit of doubt to the people. I have this soft thinking that everybody deserves a second chance. I love watching shows like X Factor, American Idol. These singers, or would-be singers. They do a lot of busking on the streets. They sing in pubs for years, but they got this second chance to fulfill their dream, and it really rejoices me when I see them making it. I remember there was a young executive when I joined Munchy not long, and she made 50,000 ringgit mistake. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a big mistake. So the head of department, the marketing director, I heard about it because I have the pulse of the company. I knew about it, and I was just waiting for the marketing director to come and see me. So the marketing director brought the younger in, and and she was like really frightened, and trembling, really trembling. And so I told her, I said, "Come, sit down, calm down. It's fine." What happened? She explained to me she was new, the process was new, she didn't know that she has to do certain things, and we end up overspending by 50,000 ringgit. So I asked her a second question. I said, so what have you learned? And if you are given the opportunity to do this again, what would you have done differently? She explained to me she would have picked up the process, she would ask her elders, and then she would have done it differently. Then I said, it's fine. Since you have learned your lesson, I think the most important thing is don't repeat it, right? But I said, it's fine. I will write off the 50,000. The point here is, and I think this is very important for the listener. The employee came to my room, expected a scolding, at worst, warning letter or something. But she ended up with a positive reinforcement and a good learning. Now, we all have opportunities during time like this to either reinforce or we destroy. So we must, as leaders, choose to reinforce. I give you another example of experience, I would say, about tough decisions. So number of years ago, in between the CFO, I was like CFO, interim CFO for a while. So IT was reporting to CFO at that time. So they have a senior executive that they wanted to exit, because of work reason. So the head of IT came to me and said, "Hey, Rod, you are my boss, and can you talk to the guy?" I said, "Okay, fine." I called the executive in. So I think in situation like this, it's not about destroying the confidence of the employee. It's all about upholding the confidence, upholding the dignity. And how I look at situation like this is we are trying to fit a round ball into a square peg. It's not the fault of the employees. It's not the fault of the company. It's just sometimes you don't have the wrong fit. So you have to dignify the process and provide as much assistance as possible. How we should treat this is the failure is more of the company rather than employee, because I told the employee, I said, look, it's not that we don't want to keep you, but it's just that to hold back your development will be very selfish for the company. And we fail. We can't develop you further. So it's better for you to explore opportunities elsewhere where you can be more successful.
Correct.
And he agreed. Of course, we try to package it in a way, giving him a few months so that he can look for jobs. Yeah. And the last day, he came to my room and hugged me, thanked me for sacking him. Now, and it really touches me, right? And he was texting me for like almost a year after that, asking me, how's the company? How are you guys doing? I saw some good display in the supermarket. Congrats, and took some pictures and to me. So if I have done it differently, and I have been terminated once when I was very, very young. my temporary job, and the experience wasn't great for me. I was just basically, I was told that, look, you are just no good for the business. So, and that affect me, but I was very young. I think I was 19 years old. It was a temp job. And when you're that young, you're not that serious, right? So I don't want that experience for other people. Yeah. So that's why whenever we come to this tough decision, for me is how do you uphold the dignity of the process? Yeah. Again, it is a crossroad. Which path do you want to take? Do you want to build the confidence or do you want to destroy? And that is very important for leadership, right? Because whatever you do, people outside will hear about it. When I say outside, I mean outside the room, your employees will know about this. Yeah. And if you are seen as a leader who continue to build despite for whatever the situation is, yeah, you will be coming across as a genuine guy.
Yeah. Okay, quick one. And this is going to be interesting. Have you ever experienced moments or times where you actually doubt the decision you made as a leader? Like you can okay, did I really do that? Was that the right thing? And so what is that situation? And in those kind of situations, then what do you do? Because we're not perfect.
Wrong. Every day I doubt myself. Like I said, look, number of years ago, not even a number, not too long ago, I'm a regional manager running around East Malaysia, and today I'm the CEO of Munchy. You always doubt yourself, right? Am I doing the right thing? Am I building values? So I really never see myself as a leader because I always think that, when I was in Unilever or when we are in Unilever, the chairman is like this big boss sitting in the ivory tower. So I never picture myself as that. For me is, again, maybe really my role. My role is a general manager. And the most difficult time is not over yet. I can tell you I've been working maybe 36 years. The current pandemic is the most difficult time. And I'll share this with you. But I have a sip of water first.
Go ahead. Breathe.
Now, at the start of the pandemic, MCO 1.0, we have to make a decision. So my exco came to me and said that, what do we do? Yeah. So I said, I can't make a decision today. Can we talk tomorrow? Let me think through this. Because we have to decide whether we want to send our field sales out. Yeah, field sales team out. We want to send our operator to the factory. And you are literally making decision on people's life. When I say this, it is not an example. It is really making decision because if they caught on to the COVID-19 and they don't make it, can you sleep with yourself? So I can tell you, I can't sleep that night. And I really was thinking through. But we have a great team in our people. So my director of BD came to me and said, look, this is the strategy, and we discussed about it. So we landed on the priority of protecting our people and protecting the business. And that straight away gives me the balance. And it's so important. You can't over-index protecting the business. If all your action is to protect your business, then what happened to the people? The people will not be happy and they then will leave. And likewise, you can't over-index, spending everything on the people as well. Because if you do that, and there's no business for them to run. If the business don't do well, then the employee don't have job, you have to cut job, you have to cut salary.
When you have to make a decision, either the business or your people.
So it is, like I said, you have to strike a balance. Yeah. You can't over-index on one side. like I mentioned, if you do everything for the business, for the business, and don't care for the people will leave. Or if you do everything for the people and you don't care for the business, then of course the shareholder will not agree. Then you will not be able to make profit. And then there will be no business. If there's no business, then there's no employee, right? So we landed on this. So all the decisions that we make, we try to strike the balance. How do we protect the people? How do we protect the business? So just to share, to that, we spent more than 3 million to protect our people. We give them masks for the frontliner. We give them double masks. We give them sanitizer. When they have to come back to the factory or come back to the office, we give them lunch, meals, so that they do not have to go out. So the only risk of when they come to the office is the travel from the house to the office and back. So we try to reduce all these risks, and we recognize them as well. Last year we gave an additional 1 month bonus to all our frontliners, the field sales staff, the factory staff. And true enough, last year, despite the pandemic, we have one of our best year really, and it really encouraged me that if we are doing all these things right, the people will take care of the business.
Yep.
And the other thing that I wanted to share is we do a lot of communication. MCO 1.0, every Monday, I go on a town hall. We have open, transparent, factual sharing with all our employees every Monday, for about 3 months, because when you start to move people from home, you are detaching them from the center of the business. And even for myself, I was wondering, what's happening to the company? What are they doing? Is somebody getting COVID? So on and so forth. We share everything. I always talk about the COVID cases, if there's any. And we didn't have any cases until early February.
Wow. Okay.
So the last year, the whole single year, we didn't have a single case, I think. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Probably one. Yeah, probably one. Yeah. But the point that I'm saying is that when you start to communicate, when you share transparently to your employees, they will appreciate that. And that's when I started to get messages from people, from employees from different parts of the company, and that really encourages me. But we are not out of it yet. We are not out of it yet.
Yeah.
So
maybe my last question. What makes you burn? Something that you're passionate about and you wish you have the power to change or affect change. But something that you're fighting for or against. What makes you burn?
Well, in the company, definitely is people development. I think that is something that I'm really passionate about. Again, I share with you the conversation I had with my founder. We are here, or I'm here, is because people invested in me. And I remember my first year in Munchy's, and I told the HR that I want to increase the training budget by 6 times, 6x. And of course, it get to the founder. The founder came to see me and said, "Hey, Rod, why do you want to spend so much?" I said, "Look, the important thing is this. If you raise your people level, what happened to your company result? Your company result automatically raise. So this is more of a belief rather than something that, well, in a way, is it really scientific?" So I told him the evidence really is me, right? I joined I started working when I was very young. Company invested, sent me for trainings, and I acquired the knowledge. And that's where we are. And very important thing that we have to think about is this. If you don't invest in your people, what if they stay in your company? Because some people will ask you, if you invest, what if they leave? I think that's fine. If they leave, it shows that our development is working. It shows that people are recognizing our talents. Yeah, of course, as a company, we'll do everything that we can to keep them. But even if they leave, it's fine. But the more important point is, what if you don't develop your people and they stay? That means there is a stagnancy in terms of skill set. Yeah. The other thing that I'm very passionate about is childhood cancer. I spend a lot of time, a lot of my free time doing this pro bono work. For me, is children are born innocent, right? They have no sins. They have not done a single bad thing. Well, all of us have done a lot of, or for me, we have done a lot of things that is not that nice, in life. We make all mistakes, but children, they are born innocent. Why do they have cancer? Nobody can answer that question. I've spoken to a lot of specialists, a lot of professors. I spend my time doing this because I have seen the work that we have done that have helped the kids and also helped the family. I work with the Sarawak Children Cancer Society for the past 20 years, and this term I'm still the president. It's been a long time. Even though I moved to Peninsula Malaysia, they still wanted me to become the president. So that's one. And I also recently worked with the Childhood Cancer International, a grouping of about 169 organizations across the world. So I was invited to the board last year, and this year was appointed as the vice president. So there's something that I'm really passionate about. If I have the power to change, of course, no child should have cancer. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, because the inequity between the high income country and the low income country in terms of treatment, in terms of survival rate is very different. A high income country survival rate can be as high as 90%. A low income country can be 20%. So as a organization, our main goal is to save 1 million lives by 2030. Raising the average survival rate from 40% across the world to 60%, and focusing mainly in the low-income country and middle-income countries. The other thing that's really I'm passionate about is, I also spend time with Endeavour. Endeavour is an NGO that helps startup, to get the right footing, to develop the right playbook so that they can be more successful. It is more of a pay forward kind of concept. I did it mainly because I always tell myself that I'm here because of the great bosses, the great mentors, people who have taught me, people who have guided me, to make me where I am today. And now I'm at the tail end of my career, so it's my turn to share. It's my turn to share the experience, my experiences with them, and that's really give me a high sense of fulfillment, pleasure, and really make me happy. So I think all of us are here for a reason. We are put on this earth for a reason. It's a matter of choice of what you want to do. I choose to do things like paying it forward, supporting child cancer. So to the listeners, what is your choice? What are you going to do with your life apart from working, So it's something that I'm extremely passionate about.
Right. Thank you so much. You hit the nail. We are here in this world for a reason. And ladies and gentlemen, Rodney Wong I'm so deeply humbled this Friday morning. And I hope you are just like me, inspired. And wow, let me just recap, what Rodney has mentioned in the past 1 hour. And please do also keep the chat box busy with your own learning. Rodney, I will screenshot the chat box and send to you because there are loads of things people are talking there and you want to know what are the conversations while you were busy talking. Yeah. Be authentic as a leader, be authentic. You cannot be something that you're not, because then you would not be sustainable. People will see through the cracks. Don't compel people to work. Get them to be inspired to work because you are taking care of them. That's a very, very good advice for me personally as well. Yeah, I think you mentioned like 4 or 5 times about having a shared vision, about understanding and rallying people with your why, and about developing your people. Yeah. And you mentioned about leading from the heart. And I picked up, even though you didn't mention it, with a lot of humility. Rodney, Zeti, Ahmad, this is your kombucha entrepreneur, is sending virtual hugs to you. Rodney, please write a book, sir. I want to use it for my life tools and for next generation purpose. That's from Zeti. I will give you Zeti's phone number. Hakim's asked, how did you manage to SOP in factories, because the cases nowadays much contributed from factories?
Oh, you did? You want me to answer the question?
Just a quick one.
Well, there is no really new playbook on this. We develop it as we go along. To me, is the bias is to protect people, right? So we reach out to KKM, we reach out to the expert, we research the internet. But basically, we follow the basic SOP, social distancing, making sure that people have wear masks. And in our factory is quite easy because, when you're in the factory floor, because of clean room, they're already wearing masks. But we make sure that all the officers, people are wearing masks. We provide hand sanitizer, and we also encourage people to wash their hands. Having said that, we still have cases in the factory because there's just too many cases going around the country, and some could be from home, some could be from friends, from neighbor. But if I want to give an advice, communicate. Continue to talk about it, because I think the mistake that a lot of people make is, oh, I have already written a policy on SOP. I send out the memo. I put it on the, the notice board, and my work is done. Your work is not done, because people lapse into their comfort zone, and if you continue to communicate, continue to strengthen that, it will help to get the message across. And how do I say this? Get the seriousness of that issue across to the people. So we do a lot of communication, starting from me, from HR, from head of department, from unit managers. Everybody have to send the message across. So when we do town hall, of course, not everybody can dial in, right? So the operator can dial in. So what HR translate the message that I talk about into point form, and that is being briefed to the people in the factory floor. And we do that, and we record it, we put it on the our canteen TV, and then we play it, we loop it, so we keep reminding people. Like I said, last year, it was really a fantastic year for us. We have like 1 case in the whole of last year. But of course, now there are more cases. I'm not going to sugarcoat this, right? So another step that we are taking, we're bringing in expert, and on the project to come and review all our SOPs. And this is happening this month. Yeah, because yes, we believe we have a good SOP. We communicate a lot, but we still have cases. So the thing is, we can't rest on our laurel, and we have to keep improving because it is an ever-changing game. Today's playbook may not be applicable tomorrow. So my HR is bringing in, well, we're spending a bit of money to bring in this expert, and this expert will review everything and at the same time train our people again on the SOP. And it is not only about what they do when they are in the workplace, it's also what they do when they are at home. When they are outside, then that's very important. I hope I have shared something.
Yes, you have.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Communicate, because you can never communicate enough and remind people, because even though they know, they need reminder. Another point I picked up just now from the conversation we had so far is about trust. Trust is the fundamental thing that you latch onto to get people to do more, give more, and serve. Rodney, I think you have embodied the epitome of servant leadership. I learned about this concept quite recently when I was watching the New Amsterdam, about how Max Goodwin is, helping his people to do their job better. And I'm seeing another Max Goodwin here in Malaysia. And so honored to be talking to you this morning, super inspired. I hope everyone else in this room who have joined us this morning have benefited the same. Any last word from you, Rodney?
Not really. Thank you so much for having me. I think it's a pleasure. For me, it's more about talking through the experience that I have, experienced over the years. Not sure whether that is something that's, that you can compare to all these great leaders, great thinkers. Definitely not. For me, in life, I just want to do something very simple. I anchor my life through making people happy. I want my family members to be happy. I want my friends to be very happy. And if in organization that I work with, I want the employees to be very happy. If they are happy, then I'm happy. That is my life philosophy. And that is something that is very important to me. My wife asks me all the time, what do you think of this? I say, if it makes you happy, it makes me happy. Let's just do it, So it is a very simple, I'm a very simple person, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to just talk a little bit about my experience, and I hope some people can resonate with that.
Yes, thank you so much. Serving other people is what leaders do. We forget that because we have a lot of crooked leaders out there right now, but that's not our point of discussion this morning. Thank you all, everyone. If you think this is useful, if you like this, there will be more. Every Friday, we are going to be doing this, inviting guest speakers and talking about different topics every week. It's going to be something that we have to keep each other motivated, inspired, especially during the pandemic. If you want more, tune in and check out all our social media for more announcement on the next speaker. If you have missed the previous breakthrough sessions, do go into our YouTube channel. The handle is being posted on the chat box for past recordings. All right, next week we will have somebody. This is, how do I pronounce her name? Archana, right? Sintu?
It's Archana.
Archana. It's a cha. Okay. And we're going to talk about NFT. Okay, I've not been briefed about this, I have to be honest. All right, non-fungible tokens and how they infuse meaningfulness into the company. All right. If you don't know what NFT is, I've got to go and do reading on NFT now. Join me next week to learn more about NFT. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a blessed Friday and have a good weekend. Thank you so much.